Chapter 6. Circling Shadows. The days that followed were heavy with silence. Evelyn and Ethan didn't break up, but they weren't really together either. Messages grew shorter, their usual playful banter stripped down to essentials. Are you home? Did you eat? Good night. At work, Evelyn tried to lose herself in projects, but her thoughts drifted constantly. Every time her phone buzzed, her stomach flipped. Every time it didn't, the ache deepened. Ethan, meanwhile, ran farther and longer on his morning jogs, hoping the rhythm of his feet could pound away the doubt clawing at his chest. But it didn't. He could still see Ryan's face in his imagination, sitting across from Evelyn. The thought haunted him. She chose me. She said she loved me. So why does it feel like him losing her anyway? Friday night, they met at Evelyn's apartment for dinner. It was the first time in days they'd been alone together without the buffer of text messages. She cooked pasta, he brought wine. They smiled politely, spoke softly, as if afraid to break the fragile glass between them. How's work? He asked. Busy. Yours, Fine. Silence. The clink of forks. The hum of the fridge. Finally, Evelyn set her fork down. I hate this, she whispered. Ethan looked up, startled. This distance. Us walking around like strangers. Her eyes shimmered. I don't want to lose what we have, Ethan. Then why does it feel like I already have? His voice cracked, raw. Her throat closed. She reached across the table, her hand hovering above his. For a second, he almost took it, then pulled back, leaning into his chair. The space between them stretched, taut and unbearable. That night, Ethan slept on the couch while Evelyn lay awake in her bed, staring at the ceiling. Both wanted to close the distance. Both were too afraid. They weren't broken. Not yet. But they were circling each other like two planets, caught in the same orbit, never quite colliding. And somewhere deep down, Evelyn feared the orbit couldn't last forever. Chapter 7. Unwelcome Spotlight. Sunday afternoon, Evelyn attended a small gathering hosted by Mara. She hadn't planned on going, but Mara's persistence had worn her down. It'll be fun, Mara had promised. Just a few of us from college. Like old times. But the moment Evelyn walked in and saw Ethan across the room, her stomach dropped. Mara had mentioned he'd be there. Their eyes met briefly. A polite nod. No smile. No warmth. Mara, oblivious to the tension, clapped her hands. Look at you two. Finally together after all these years. Took you long enough. The room chuckled, but the words sliced through the fragile silence between them. Evelyn flushed. Ethan stiffened. Someone added, we always wondered when you'd figure it out. Evelyn forced a laugh, but her chest was tight. She hated being a spectacle. Their love reduced to gossip. She could feel Ethan's eyes on her, unreadable. Later, while everyone else chatted in clusters, Evelyn slipped out to the balcony, needing air. The city sprawled below, lights twinkling in the dusk. The door opened behind her. Ethan stepped out, closing it softly. You okay? He asked. Fine, she said quickly. Too quickly. He leaned on the railing beside her. You hate this kind of attention. Her shoulders sagged. It feels like we're on display. Like people are waiting for us to fail. They don't matter, he said. But it feels like they do. Her voice cracked. We're already hanging by a thread, Ethan. And tonight just put a spotlight on it. His jaw tightened. Is that what you think? That we're hanging by a thread? Tears stung her eyes. Aren't we? The silence that followed was heavy, painful. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he turned toward the city, his profile etched against the night sky. Finally, he whispered, I don't want us to be. Her chest ached. Then prove it. Their eyes locked, vulnerable, desperate, both searching for a way to close the distance that words alone couldn't bridge. Inside, laughter and music carried on. But on the balcony, Evelyn and Ethan stood side by side, the space between them charged with everything unspoken. Neither moved closer. Not yet. Chapter 8. Breaking Point. The The night after Mara's gathering, Evelyn sat curled on her couch, knees to her chest, staring at her silent phone. Ethan hadn't called. She hadn't either. The balcony conversation played on repeat in her head, his hesitation, her demand, the gap between them that seemed impossible to close. Finally, she grabbed her keys and jacket. Enough waiting. When Ethan opened his apartment door, surprise flickered across his face. "Evier, we need to talk," she said, stepping inside without waiting. He closed the door slowly. "Okay." She turned to face him, heart pounding. "Do you even want this?" He blinked. "What?" "US," she said, voice trembling. "Do you even want us? Because sometimes it feels like you don't. Like you regret it." His chest tightened. "Regret it? Evier, you gave up Chicago. You've been distant ever since. You look at me like I'm a mistake you can't admit out loud." "Stop," he said sharply, but his voice cracked. Tears filled her eyes. "Tell me I'm wrong, Ethan. Tell me you don't regret choosing me." For a long, agonizing moment, he just stood there, fists clenched at his sides, eyes stormy. Finally, he exploded. "Of course I regret it." The words tore through her like glass. She staggered back, hand covering her mouth. He stepped forward immediately, voice breaking. "I regret how I did it. I regret the timing, the way I let fear and pride make a mess of everything. But you, US, Evier, I could never regret you." Her tears spilled freely. "Then why does it feel like you're slipping away from me?" "Because I'm scared," he admitted, his voice raw. "Scared I'm not enough for you. Scared I ruined my life for something you're not even sure you want. Scared I'll lose you anyway." The silence after his words was unbearable. Slowly, Evelyn closed the space between them, her hand trembling as it touched his cheek. "You haven't lost me. Not yet." His forehead pressed against hers, both of them shaking, caught between fear and love. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "Neither do I," he said, tears brimming in his eyes. "But I want to learn. With you." And for the first time in weeks, they clung to each other, messy, broken, but real. Chapter 9. After the storm. The apartment was quiet after the storm of words. Ethan and Evelyn sat on the couch, shoulders touching, but not speaking, both exhausted from the weight of what had spilled out. Finally, Evelyn whispered, "I hated hearing you say you regretted it, even for a second." Ethan winced, running a hand through his hair. "I shouldn't have said it like that. He exhaled sharply. "I'm not good at this. At being vulnerable." She studied him, her expression softening. "You don't have to be perfect. I just need you to be honest." He nodded slowly, eyes meeting hers. "Then here is the truth. I wake up terrified every day that I'll lose you. That I'll mess this up. That you'll realize you deserve better." Her throat tightened. "You're the only one I've ever wanted. Do you know that?" He blinked, caught off guard by the intensity of her voice. She took his hand, squeezing hard. "I've loved you for years, Ethan. I didn't say it because I was scared to. But I don't want fear to keep writing our story." For a moment, silence wrapped around them. Then Ethan leaned forward, his lips meeting hers, slow, deliberate, full of everything they hadn't said until now. The kiss deepened, but it wasn't about passion. It was about reassurance, about stitching together the cracks with tenderness. Later, they lay together beneath the blanket, the city humming outside the window. Evelyn rested her head on Ethan's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "Do you think we'll make it?" she asked softly. He pressed his lips to her hair. "We already are. One day at a time." She smiled faintly, her body finally relaxing for the first time in weeks. For now, at least, love felt bigger than fear. Chapter 10. The offer returns. The following week unfolded more gently. Ethan and Evelyn found small rhythms together again: late-night walks, coffee before work, quiet evenings curled up on the couch. Their laughter returned in pieces, fragile but real. It felt almost normal, almost safe. Until Wednesday morning, when Ethan's phone buzzed with an email that stopped his heart. Subject: Chicago position, final confirmation needed. He read it twice, then a third time. The company hadn't closed the offer. They were giving him one last chance. That evening, he sat across from Evelyn at dinner, the words heavy on his tongue. She was talking about a project at work, eyes bright, hands moving animatedly the way they always did when she was passionate. But he barely heard her. All he could think was, if I stay, I give up everything you've worked for. If I go, I give up her. When he finally told her, her fork clattered against her plate. They offered again. He nodded slowly. They want an answer by the end of the week. Her throat tightened. And what do you want? He hesitated too long. The silence between them thickened. You don't know, she whispered. Evia, it's not that simple. Her eyes shimmered with hurt. It feels pretty simple to me. You either want the life we're starting together, or you don't. It's my career, he said, his voice sharp. It's everything you've worked for. And what am I? She snapped, her voice trembling. Just something you weigh against a promotion? He reached for her hand, but she pulled back, tears brimming. The wound between them so recently mended split wide open again. That night, Evelyn lay awake in her bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the same hollow ache she'd feared from the start. And Ethan sat alone in his apartment, the unopened email glowing on his laptop screen like a ticking clock. Two choices, one heart, one love, and no clear path forward.